Good morning. This is a meeting of the Finance Administration Committee and the special meeting of the Board of Directors of West Basin Water District. Today is Tuesday, February 20th, 2024. And I'd like to call this meeting to order and determine if we have a quorum. So, General Manager E.J. Caldwell, if you do a roll call, please.
Happy to do so. Director Harold Williams.
Here.
Chairman Scott Houston.
Here.
Director Gloria Gray.
Here.
Director Desi Alvarez.
Here.
Director Don Deere.
Here. Very good. Thank you, EJ. All five are present, and we'll move forward with public comment. Anyone from the public wishing to speak?
Mr. Chairman, we have not received any requests for public comment for this meeting today, though this meeting is being held both in person and virtually. If you are attending virtually and you'd like to make a public comment, please indicate so by raising your virtual hand. And Mr. Chairman, I do not see any requests.
Okay, thank you. All right, item 4 is presentations, which I don't believe we have any presentations today.
That is correct.
All right, so we'll move on to our action calendar, item 5A, which is approval of the minutes. EJ.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item 5A will be presented by Desiree Quintero, our Manager of Administration.
Good morning, members of the committee and board. Approval of minutes begins on packet page 5. The minutes.
Go ahead.
East West Basin Municipal Water District Board of Directors meetings are an integral part of the public meeting process. Minutes provide a history of the actions taken at board meetings, which is informative not only for members of the public, but for other stakeholders as well. January 22nd, 2024, regular board minutes have been attached for the board's consideration and can be found beginning on packet page 7. With that, I will read the recommendation. Staff recommends that the board approve the January 22nd, 2024 regular board minutes.
I move it. Second.
Okay, well, hold on.
Committee meeting.
There you go. Hold on, gentlemen. So first of all, any questions on this item? And I will refer to Member Williams of my committee. Any questions, Director Williams?
No, thank you.
Anybody else questions? Director Gray, any questions?
No question.
Okay, so yeah, hearing none, I would recommend this goes forward to the board for approval. And Director Williams?
Second.
He concurs. All right, great. Thank you, Desiree. Next item is action calendar 5B as in boy, approved sponsorship fiscal year 23-24 community outreach events. And there's a number of things, so let's just take it all at once, okay?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The item before you, item 5B, will be presented by Hazel Vasquez, our Deputy Board Secretary, too.
EJ, good morning, members of the committee and board. If I can turn your attention to packet page 13, and also if please let me know if at any point you can't hear me because of the mask, I'll do my best to speak up. So on packet page 13, I have a few items that are here for your consideration today as far as community outreach events go. As you mentioned just now, Director Houston, I'll go through all of them and then just stop me if you have any questions at any point. So the first one that I have for you on packet page 13 is the Malibu Film Society's 14th annual Oscar viewing party. Director Houston requests consideration for West Basin to sponsor this event that is being held on Sunday, March 10th, 2024 in the amount of $1,000. This sponsorship would grant West Basin a district booth or table to distribute district information. I would like to note that we have not previously sponsored this event. However, additional information regarding this request can be found in attachment A, and that begins on packet page 17. The next item that I have for you.
If I can interrupt you, can you speak up a little bit more?
I will do my best. Yes, I will do my best, Dr. Calvin. The next one that I have for you is the City of Hawthorne's Business Expo 2024. Director Deere requests consideration for West Basin to sponsor this event that is being held on Thursday, March 14th, 2024 in the amount of $1,000. This sponsorship would grant West Basin a booth or table to distribute district information, as well as an advertisement promoting district awareness. West Basin did previously sponsor this event in fiscal year 22-23 in the amount of $1,000, which also provided the opportunity for both a booth and an advertisement. Additional information regarding this year's request can be found in attachment B, and that begins on packet page 21. Our next item for your consideration is the Lennox Math, Science, and Technology Academy's STEM Fair. Director Deere requests consideration for West Basin to sponsor this event that is being held on Saturday, March 16th, 2024, in the amount of $750. This sponsorship would grant West Basin a district booth or table to distribute district information. Of note is that West Basin previously sponsored this event in fiscal year 22-23 in the amount of $500, which also provided the opportunity for a booth. Additional information regarding this year's sponsorship can be found in attachment C, beginning on page 26. The next item for your consideration is Empower Institute's Girls to Greatness Teen Summit. This is a joint sponsorship request from Director Houston and Director Gray, requesting consideration for West Basin to sponsor the Empower Institute's Girls to Greatness Teen Summit event, which is being held on Friday, April 12, 2024. Director Gray and Director Houston would like the board to consider a $3,500 sponsorship that would grant West Basin an advertisement promoting district awareness. West Basin did previously sponsor this event in fiscal year 18-19 in the amount of $2,100, which provided at the time an opportunity for an advertisement. The information for this year's sponsorship can be found in attachment D, and that begins on packet page 30. The next one that I have for you is Achievable Health's annual It's Achievable Gala. Director Houston requests consideration for West Basin to sponsor this event that is being held on Saturday, April 13th, 2024. Director Houston would like for the board to consider a $2,000 sponsorship that would grant West Basin an advertisement promoting district awareness. We last sponsored this event in fiscal year 22-23 in the amount of $2,000, which also provided the opportunity for an advertisement. This year's sponsorship details can be found in attachment E, beginning on packet page 43. Turning over to packet page 14, where the remainder of the items for your consideration are. The next one is El Segundo PTA's Run for Education. Director Houston requests consideration for West Basin to sponsor this event that is being held on Saturday, April 27, 2024, in the amount of $500. This sponsorship would grant West Basin a district booth or table to distribute district information. We did previously sponsor this event in fiscal year 22-23 in the amount of $1,000, and that provided the opportunity for both a booth and an advertisement. Additional information regarding this year's sponsorship request can be found in attachment F, beginning on packet page 47. The next item that I have for your consideration is the Culver City Education Foundation's A Taste of Culver City event. Director Houston requests consideration for West Basin to sponsor this event that's being held on Sunday, April 28, 2024. Director Houston would like for the board to consider a $2,500 sponsorship that would grant West Basin an advertisement promoting district awareness. We did previously sponsor this event in fiscal year 22-23 in the same amount of $2,500 and also received an advertisement for that year. Additional information regarding this year's sponsorship request can be found in attachment G, beginning on packet page 53. I believe I'm down to the last one, which is the Wiseburn Education Foundation's Rock Around the Block event. Director Houston would like to request consideration for West Basin to sponsor this event that is being held in May 4th, 2024. In the amount of $2,500, this sponsorship would grant West Basin a district booth/table to distribute district information, as well as an advertisement promoting district awareness. We did previously sponsor this event in fiscal year 22-23 in the amount of $5,000, which provided the opportunity for both a booth and an advertisement. Details regarding this sponsorship can be found in attachment H, and that begins on packet page 67. So looking here at these sponsorship requests that are before you, we currently have a budget that would cover that in the community outreach budget that totals $75,000. Approving the sponsorship requested today, which altogether totaled $13,750. would leave a remaining budget of $19,700. And you can see the details of that in attachment I, and that is on packet page 71. So with that, if I can turn your attention to the bottom of packet page 15, I will go through the recommendation. Number one, Director Houston requests that the board consider approving sponsorship of the Malibu Film Society's 14th annual Oscar viewing party event scheduled to be held on Sunday, March 10th, 2024, in the amount of $1,000. Number two, Director Deere requests that the board consider approving sponsorship of the City of Hawthorne's Business Expo 2024 event scheduled to be held on Thursday, March 14th, 2024, in the amount of $1,000. Number three, Director Deere requests that the board consider approving sponsorship of the Lennox Math Science Technology Academy STEM Fair event scheduled to be held on Saturday, March 16, 2024, in the amount of $750. Number four, Director Houston and Director Gray request that the board consider approving sponsorship of the Empower Institute's Girl to Greatness Teen Summit event scheduled to be held on Friday, April 12, 2024, in the amount of $3,500. Number five, Director Houston requests that the board consider approving sponsorship of the Achievable Health's annual It's Achievable Gala event scheduled to be held on Saturday, April 13th, 2024, in the amount of $2,000. Number six, Director Houston requests that the board consider approving sponsorship of the El Segundo PTA's Run for Education event scheduled to be held on Saturday, April 27th, 2024, in the amount of $500. Number seven, Director Houston requests that the board consider approving sponsorship of the Culver City Education Foundation Culver City event scheduled to be held on Sunday, April 28th, 2024, in the amount of $2,500. And number eight, Director Houston requests that the board consider approving sponsorship of the Weisburn Education Foundation's Rock Around the Block event scheduled to be held on Saturday, May 4th, 2024, in the amount of $2,500. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Haza, for that. So with that, I would just open up to any questions. First with Member Williams. Any questions?
Not right now, thank you.
Anybody else have questions? Director Alvarez, go ahead.
On the item number 3 in the list, the Lennox and MSTA STEM, I understand the material there. Can you maybe add a little bit more background? And has that been an event that West Basin has ever sponsored in the past?
So yes, we have sponsored them. To answer that question first, we sponsored them last year, and I want to say off the top of my head that last year was the first year that we sponsored that. We got a booth at their at the STEM fair that they hosted. As far as background, they do this serves as like a competition of sorts for their students and kind of serves as the basis. I believe it's like the first level of competitions. They have additional workshops that happen after that, but it does provide an avenue for their students to not only go and participate in other students, but to showcase their own work and garner the attention of their community within that.
Okay, so the competition that you refer to, what is it focused on?
You know, that I would have to get a bit more information off the top of my head. I don't believe I have that, but I can get that to you. Exactly.
And what grade level is this beginning?
It's, you know, I will have to get back to you on that. Now that I can get that information to you, Director Albert.
And then this is something that is set up by the school. I mean, it looks, this doesn't have an awful lot of sponsors, and so just wondering, it's a school-driven event.
It is,
They're the ones,
sorry, go ahead.
they're the ones that are in charge of the whole program.
Correct. We actually were contacted last year as well as this year by one of their teachers who helped in the efforts of putting this event together. He's one of the science teachers, I believe, as well. And so he's the one that sort of has, from our perspective, has been leading the charge or is our main point of contact. So it's definitely very school driven, teacher driven specifically.
Hmm.
And as far as I do have some information here that it is for their K through 12 students. So it's open to all of their students, it seems like.
So then the competition has to be gradated because you're not gonna have first and second graders competing with high school.
Right, right.
Okay, maybe you can get back to us at the board meeting with some additional information on what the competition focuses on. And my other question is, in terms of the sponsorship monies that they collect, what is it used for? Is it 100% going to go to support some kind of awards for the students participating, or what is the money actually used for?
You know, I'm gonna have to include that in the follow-up information. I don't have that at the ready, but I can definitely look into it and get back to you.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, and as this committee considers all of these sponsorship events, I just wanted to go on record that of the events that I read through, and in this one that I've asked some questions to follow up. I may be supporting this one at the board meeting. The other events I don't think are really appropriate and will not be supporting this one. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Director Gray, do you have any questions?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you. And Director Deere, any last questions? Director Deere? No question? Okay. So I would recommend these go forward to the board with a approval. And noted that most all of these we've supported in the past, by the way. And so with that, Director Williams? Concurs. So with that, we'll move it forward to the board. Obviously, Hazel, you can have some additional information at the board level on that item. But otherwise, these are
Yes.
very good.
Chair
Yes.
Houston, may I
Yes.
just make a comment? Yeah.
Oh, sure, go
I
ahead.
just want
Go
to
ahead.
kind of support what you're saying in terms of we've supported these organizations in the past, and I know Director Alvarez may be looking at a water nexus, but I think it's always just important for us to support community-based organizations, and I think for that reason, I continue to support these items. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Director Gray. Let's see now. We have 5C as in cat, which these are district sponsorship requests. So EJ, if you would introduce that item.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Item, excuse me, 5C includes 4 potential district-wide sponsorships. And for this presentation, we have our Executive Assistant, Carla, for the presentation.
Good morning, members of the committee and board. I am here to present item 5C, which begins in page 72 of your agenda packet. These are fiscal year 2023-2024 district sponsorship requests. And at the time, we have 4 items for your consideration. Staff is seeking your feedback regarding moving this forward to the board, and also your input regarding the appropriate level of sponsorship to assign each of these should you decide to support these items. First, we have BSFET's 2024 BC Awards. The district has received a request from the Los Angeles County Business Federation to sponsor their 2024 BC Awards to be held on March 22nd from 11:30 to 2 p.m. Staff recommends that the board consider approving this sponsorship request and determine the level of sponsorship. Sponsorship opportunities for current fiscal year start at $3,000 at the grassroots level and go all the way up to $11,000. Further details can be found on page 75 of your agenda pack. The district has previously sponsored this event the last fiscal year, 2022-2023, at the grassroots level with a sponsorship amount of $2,500. Next, we have the LA County Sanitation District's 2024 Earth Day celebration. to be held on Saturday, April 13th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Staff recommends that the board consider approving this sponsorship request and determine the level of sponsorship. Sponsorship opportunities start at the bronze level with $1,000. Here, sponsorships are divided in brackets, so there is no specific amount per each level. It's more, it's a range. The district previously sponsored this event in fiscal year 2022-2023 at the bronze level with a sponsorship amount of $1,000. Details regarding what each sponsorship packet contains can be found on page 76 of the packet. Moving to the bottom of page 72, we have the Water Replenishment District's 14th Annual Groundwater Festival to be held on Saturday, May 4th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Staff recommends that the board consider approving the sponsorship request and determine the level of sponsorship. Sponsorship opportunities are listed on page 79 of the agenda packet and start with in-kind sponsorships going through the event sponsor level at $1,000 and going all the way up to platinum for $15,000. The district previously sponsored this event in fiscal year 2022-2023 at the partner level with a sponsorship amount of $3,000. Next, we have the Aqua 2024 Spring Conference and Expo. This event will take place in Sacramento from May 7 to May 9. Staff recommends that the board consider approving this sponsorship request and determine the level of sponsorship. Sponsorship opportunities for the current fiscal year start at the bronze level with $1,000, going all the way up to the level with $15,000. The district previously sponsored this event in fiscal year 2022-2023 at the bronze level with a sponsorship amount of $1,000. Further details on each sponsorship package can be found on page 85 of your agenda. Participation in outreach events provides facilitating opportunities to connect with the community it serves, create and strengthen relationships with stakeholders, and learn about new industry trends for those events where it's applicable. Funds for the requested sponsorships are included in the 2023-2024 sponsorship budget in the amount of $55,000. This budget has a remaining balance of $22,800 as shown in attachment E. That is page 90 of your agenda packet. And with that, I'll move on to read the recommendation. Staff recommends that the board consider approving sponsorship of the BC 2024 BC Awards to be held on March 22nd, the LA County Sanitation District's 2024 Earth Celebration to be held on April 13th, WRD's 14th Annual Groundwater Festival to be held on May 4th, and the Aqua 2024 Spring Conference and Expo to be held from May 7 to May 9. And I am ready for your questions if you.
Very good. Thank you, Carla. I'll go ahead and just start by saying what I think we should do because it's in our hands. The committee is basically the same as we've done last year. So I see now BizFed, that came in, it's a little higher than last year. So it's 3,000 the basic level, but I think we should do the lowest level. $1,000 for LA County Sanitation Districts, just like last year. $3,000 for the WRD Groundwater Festival, and $1,000 for Aqua Spring Conference. So at the end of the day, basically everything's the same or the lowest level that most of them are even eligible for. So that's my recommendation. And of course, Director Williams has to opine, but also open up to Director Williams for your thoughts, as well as then we'll open to the rest of the directors. So Director Williams.
I agree. Concur with that.
Great, thank you. Anybody else, directors, with questions or comments at this time? Director Alvarez.
You mentioned in the LA County, maybe you also mentioned the sponsorship level for this band, but I missed that. How much money is being requested there?
On which one?
This band,
So-
busy awards.
So BizFed Last year, we sponsored at the lowest level, which was 2,500. This year, it looks like the lowest level is $3,000. So,
That's correct, yes.
correct? So I'm still suggesting we stay at the lowest level. And all the others, it was exactly the same, Director Alvarez, is what we've done in the past.
On the WRD one,
Uh-huh.
I think we initially did that film that they had put together, that looked at water, and the agencies that have really gotten together to serve, the southern portion of LA County. WRD was based in Central Basin. And that was, I think, 2 years ago, if I recall. That was the first time, and if I'm wrong, I'm asking the question, that we sponsored the WRD event. And I question why we continue to sponsor an event that, you know, I understood that was a one-time video that they put together, et cetera. And I think they needed some assistance in funding it. I'm questioning why we continue to support their event.
President Alvarez, you are actually incorrect. The video that you mentioned or the movie and the screening was a separate standalone event. West Basin has long been a sponsor of the annual Groundwater Festival that's held by the Water Replenishment District. We also participate with a booth there as well. But similarly, the Water Replenishment District has been a longtime sponsor of West Basin's Water Harvest Festival, and they also provide staff and materials to host a booth at our event as well. So it's been kind of a reciprocal support for each agency over the long haul.
So I'll just make a comment on that, and thank you for the clarification. To the degree that what we're doing is exchanging money, we gave them a check for $3,000, they gave us a check for $3,000. I don't think that is very productive. Whether we give them a check or not, I think that they would welcome us having a booth at their festival, just as we would welcome them having a booth at ours. So the exchange of the checks, to me, doesn't seem to be a worthwhile consideration. We can continue to move forward with. So that, I'm just not supportive of that happening, that or public agencies are just exchanging public money for no particularly good purpose. The purpose in all of this is to promote the individual agencies, and to the degree that booths are made available, and that the agencies take advantage of that. That's the key component. Exchanging dollars doesn't make any sense. Thank you.
Very
I
good.
don't agree entirely. I think it's kind of a no harm, no foul situation, and it shows support on one agency for the other agency. And it spreads goodwill. I think it's a good idea.
I agree. You,
Nice.
Very good. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Director Gray, anything?
I'm supportive. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. I'm supportive as well, as I've already said. So with that, I made my recommendation earlier. I think you all got it, to move that forward to the board. And Director Williams, I believe you concur. So it'll go forward to the board for approval and any further discussion. All right. Thank you, Carla. Great job. Thank you so much. Okay. Let me find my place. EJ, we are on 5D as in dog, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, I'll introduce that. Financial contribution to the Regional Wastewater Recycling Technical Convening organized by LA Waterkeeper and UCLA Luskin Center for Innovation. EJ.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and I'll be handling this item. As you mentioned, this is related to a regional wastewater recycling technical convening, which is being organized by the LA Waterkeeper along with UCLA Luskin Center for Innovation. Attachment B of this memo does provide a letter that was provided to West Basin Municipal Water District from the LA Waterkeeper. It's important to note that what they are seeking to do is take a technical advisory convening to look at all of the regional water recycling programs, which would include the Hyperion 2035, Operation Next, Metropolitan Water District's Pure Water, as well as the Las Virgenes Municipal Water District's Pure Water Project. So they'll be looking at 4 total projects. If you can look down on packet page 91, you can see that the LA Waterkeeper has proposed this independent working group of technical experts be convened to undertake a system-wide assessment of how to best maximize wastewater recycling throughout the LA region. This group would focus on a more holistic view of what is best for the region, beyond the interests of any single agency, providing additional expertise outside of a single agency with a willingness to look for outside the box solutions. In my conversations with LA Waterkeeper, I have mentioned to them that I would like to see these efforts undertaken. Obviously, that's not the reason they are doing that, but I have been highly supportive in my conversations with them. In speaking with Mr. Bruce Resnick, they are seeking some support, financial support, in order to pay for the technical advisory convening. It's worth noting that both the City of Los Angeles as well as the Metropolitan Water District are making significant contributions to this effort. And then, of course, Las Virgenes Municipal Water District is providing a $5,000 sponsorship of this effort as well. If you look at the bottom of packet page 91, it notes that the TAC will follow up a 3-part process. First is the pre-convening prep work. And if you, I think if you look on packet page 95, you'll kind of see when this effort started. There is a timeline there. You can note that they started seeking funding commitments back in August and September through 2023. But of course, recruiting the members and beginning that process. On February 9th, they did actually convene their first meeting. It was a virtual meeting. There was more than 100 people in that virtual meeting, including numerous people from LA DWP, LA Sanitation, and of course, Metropolitan Water District and Las Virgenes, but also a handful of, I would say, key stakeholders, including former State Water Resources Control Board Chairwoman Felicia Marcus, as well as numerous people from the LA Waterkeeper Association or organization. The portion that I think is of most interest to West Basin Municipal Water District is the second part of that process, the convening a full-day meeting to identify optimal design of regional wastewater recycling systems that can maximize recycled water while minimizing negative impacts and identify challenges to implement such a vision. It's important to note that that meeting will be held later this week on February 22nd. I would also like to note that this is not a pay-to-play effort. West Basin Municipal Water District has been invited to participate in that first initial meeting and has been invited to present some slides about the Edward C. Little Water Recycling Facility, as well as our assets and facilities at the Hyperion Wastewater Treatment Facility. And so we do plan to participate whether or not the committee or board chooses to support this, but we do think that this is an extremely valuable effort. In my conversations with Mr. Bruce Resnick, I've outlined all of the questions that I have about the regional water recycling programs and really the opportunity to utilize existing infrastructure that West Basin Municipal Water District owns and operates. And I would like to see that equipment and those assets be maximized in the regional effort to produce and deliver recycled water. So with that, I have discussed with Mr. Resnick the idea of West Basin contributing $5,000 to this effort. And as such, I have made that recommendation that is included within this committee item. And that recommendation is that the board consider approving a financial contribution to the Regional Wastewater Recycling Technical Advisory Convening in the amount of $5,000. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay, great. Thank you, EJ. Any questions or thoughts on this item? Director Williams, anything right now?
Well, not right now. I would tend to lean towards supporting it.
Great. Okay. I also would lend towards supporting this, and thank you for bringing it to us, let alone having spoken with them. I do see this group of folks who are pretty well esteemed and regarded locally and at the state level, and even the past state level, who he is working to bring together. And it just seems like at this point, every opportunity we get, whether there is some financials involved or not, to move this whole needle forward, is really important at this time. So I think this is a worthwhile endeavor, and also good to hear that Las Virgenes next door to our north is part of this as well. So that's my thought on it. But I want to open up any questions. Anybody have questions? So Director Gray, any questions? Okay, hearing none. Director Albrecht, go ahead.
Not so much a question as a comment.
Okay.
There are multiple different programs, the two major ones that looking at significant investments in recycling water facilities to the next level, and that is to take a lot of the wastewater that today is being wasted into the ocean and put that in beneficial reuse by going through advanced treatment. And I do think that right now, the situation is such that because of the competing nature of some of these projects, progress in really effectively reusing that wastewater in a very productive and beneficial and really needed form is going to get delayed. So it'd be interesting to have an independent panel, and I'm hoping that the panel at the end of the day from the Les Center at UCLA truly will be independent. And I haven't seen the entire membership, but depending on that, that when they look at all of these projects, they can really give a impartial third-party evaluation. Hopefully that will clarify some of the more direct benefits of some projects over the others, and also identify the conflicts between the projects. It's critical that those conflicts not be buried, because all that ends up doing is really delaying progress in this whole area. So to the end that I think that this would be something that could promote moving forward with some of these critical projects in a way that will benefit the region and do it in a cost-effective manner. I think that this is a good, worthwhile investment for the West Coast. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Director Albrecht. Okay. Any last questions or comments? Yes, sir.
Comment.
Director Williams.
Thank you. I think this is consistent with what we were telling folks back in the day when we were pursuing desal. That even though we were pursuing desal, we were not giving up on our efforts to promote recycled water.
Oh, exactly right. So, well, with that, this is the it's before the committee, and so I think we already know where we're at, but I would recommend a yes on this to the full board, and I think Director Williams.
Yes.
Heard. Very good. So thank you again, EJ. So you all put that on our consent calendar, right? Excellent. Okay. Next, 5E is an Edward. Adopt a resolution number 02-24-1203. Authorize general manager to open bank accounts. EJ.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. As we are here at the Finance and Administration Committee, it's worth noting that the first portion of this agenda has been all what I would term is more administrative in bringing these items to you. And as we get to item 5E, we are now stepping into more of the financial aspects of this committee. And at this time, I did want to introduce you to our unanimously selected Chief Financial Officer, Wendy Nakamura. You'll notice that she is a longstanding West Basin staff member. I'm very proud to say that she endured, I thought, one of the most rigorous selection processes ever held here at West Basin Municipal Water District. And throughout that process, she was always the #1 and unanimous selection. So thank you very much for accepting the position and the responsibilities, Wendy.
Good, congratulations to Wendy. So,
As we step into this item 5E, we do have Sandra Ruiz, our accountant, to present this item.
Thank you, EJ. Good afternoon, members of the board and committee. I am here to present agenda item 5E, which begins on packet page 97. West Basin maintains several financial policies within its administrative code. One of those policies is the Small and Community Investment Program. This program was developed and adopted with the purpose of investing funds in banks, who in turn invest in our service area through loans and education, as well as engage in and support community outreach events or activities. As a recap, during the October and November F&A committee meetings, staff presented information on 4 new potential banks that are eager to participate in the program. Staff also received instructions to conduct site visits at those 4 potential banks. On January 9th, staff and Director Williams conducted those site visits where all banks were received as favorable to the program. As part of the bank's due diligence process, they require that businesses be registered with the California Secretary of State. West Basin was formed under the Municipal Water District Law of 1911 and therefore is not required to register with the state. To open up the accounts with the banks are requesting that the board adopt a resolution authorizing the general manager to open up the accounts. You will find that resolution on packet page 99. With that, I would like to read the recommendation. Staff recommends that the board adopt resolution number 02-24-1203, resolution of the Board of Directors of the West Basin Municipal Water District, confirming that the general manager, Edward J. Caldwell, is authorized to open an account in the amount of $245,000 with each of the following banks: Farmers and Merchants Bank, First Bank, First Foundation Bank, and Pacific Premier Bank. And with that, I'll pause for any questions.
very good, thank you. Questions from the committee?
I just noticed, Mr. Chair, that they on this resolution, if you look at the back page, they list the new secretary of the board, but they don't list the new president of the board. Or do they? Oh, really?
Oh, I think it is there
Okay,
on the right.
it's a different one I was looking at.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Okay, no problem.
That now.
Okay.
We're okay. It's okay.
Okay, going forward, Director Williams, #1, you have any questions or comments? Because you did obviously go on the site visits and.
I'd like to make a comment or two. I must say that we have a very capable staff taking care of this. I think it was Sandra who took us on the tour, and I couldn't complete the tour, but I think I missed one site. But I'm convinced that we have capable hands involved in this, so I would continue to support all the way.
Did you have money in each of those banks?
Well, I don't make much money, you know that. Great, thank you.
Very good, thank you. Anybody else questions, Director Alvarez or Director Gray?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Director Gray. I just have a question, I guess, between staff and EJ. So obviously, if we authorize this, you're gonna open these accounts with the amounts listed. when you put that money into those accounts, I mean, what's the term for how long, or do we have access to it if we need it, you know, in an emergency?
The accounts will be in CDs. We specifically said 245 because that's the FDIC insured amount. Seeing that they're new to the program, we just want to make sure that everything goes smoothly. We're looking at rates, terms between 12 and 13 months. They do offer shorter terms, but just didn't see prudent at this time.
Okay, very good. And lastly, I'll just ask between the staff and EJ that you all are comfortable with doing this and this approach on behalf of the district.
We are. This is an excellent opportunity for us to invest in West Basin service area.
And final question is, because we already have a couple of banks we already do business with, can you just remind us what we already have, and then if we're adding these to the mix,
Sure.
what we're gonna get?
So currently we have a CD with City First Bank at 250. Also with City First, we have a CDARS at 750. With Malaga Bank, we have a CDARS at $1 million. And then with Malaga, we have a CD at 250. So that total is 225. And then we're looking at another $1 million.
Okay. We just have 2 in the program at the moment.
Yes,
We're now looking to extend that to 4 others, so that'll be 6, right?
total of 6.
Okay, very good. Well, I definitely support this moving forward to the board for approval and with a recommendation of yes. And so Director Williams.
Sure.
Thank you. And I do want to thank Director Williams for taking time to go and visit the banks as you were able, because I know I could not. And I want to thank staff for coordinating all that on our behalf. So thank you very much. So EJ, you got that one down. And you go on to the next page. Okay, here we are. So we're at the information calendar, item 6A, our annual workforce diversity report.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Item 6A begins on packet page 101. And for this presentation, we do have our Manager of Human Resources, Elisa Macenas-Fidelio, for the presentation.
Thank you, DJ. Good morning, Chairman Houston, and members of the board.
Afternoon now.
I think good morning, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I am here to present agenda number 6A. In accordance with West Basin Strategic Business Plan, the Human Resource Department is presenting the 2024 Workforce Diversity Report, which reflects the demographic breakdown of the district by race, gender, and occupation of all 45 West Basin full-time employees. In this report, we compare our demographics to all of LA County. The information regarding LA County derives from the U.S. Census Bureau 2022 American Community Survey, which is the primary source for producing population and demographic information about Americans' changing housing and workforce. Just so you're aware, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission is responsible for enforcing federal law that makes it illegal for any kind of discrimination because of race, color, religion, gender, sex, national origin, age, disability, or genetic information. Also, the EEOC collects workforce data from employers with more than 100 employees. But since West Basin doesn't fall under that requirement, we provide this report to the board as a courtesy so that you are aware of the demographics of the district and how we compare within our county. Further reporting of this data demonstrates West Basin's dedication to promoting diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility as a West Basin core value. Identifying these metrics help to provide a measure of progress in these efforts. So with that said, if you would turn to page 103, which is the attachment A, the Workforce Diversity Report, I just wanted to point out the different occupation categories along with our breakdown on race and ethnicity. In regards to West Basin, the percentage of male versus female, we have 44.44% male, and the female ratio is 55.56%. In the ethnicity breakdown and the Caucasians, area, we have 33.33%. African Americans, we have 0. Hispanics, we have 37.78%. Asian Pacific Islanders, we have 26.67%. And others, which basically is 2 or more ethnicities, is 2.22%. Also, if you would turn to page 106 in the PowerPoint slide, which basically gives you the gender breakdown versus West Basin and LA County. As you can see, again, West Basin's male ratio is 44.44% versus the female, which is 55.56% versus LA County male percentage is 54.17% and their female percentage is 45.83%. And now if we look at the racial comparison breakdown on page 109, you can see the comparison between West Basin and LA County. Again, African Americans are 0% for West Basin. Asian Pacific Islanders, 26.67%. Caucasian is 33.33%. Hispanics is 37.78%. And others, again, is 2.22% versus LA County's African American percentage is 4.66%. Asian Pacific Islander is 10%, 10.46%. Caucasian is 20.81%. Hispanics are 32.56%, and others is 31.51%. So at this point, we like to acknowledge that there is a lack of diversity within our agency. And at the moment, this is just only a glimpse for this particular time. But our goal is to ensure that we take steps to address the discrepancy in our workforce diversity. By doing so, we have built up our recruitment process by reaching out and advertising and marketing our positions to a broader range of area that is reaching our different groups and associations that reflect the communities that we represent. As I mentioned, I believe we have doubled and tripled our budget in regards to marketing to these particular communities to make sure that we do outreach to those individuals. Also, as part of the HR goal, we want to bring awareness of these opportunities in the water industry. So we are being more proactive and doing more career fairs, and also to bring awareness to our internship program. We are attending more DEI workshops so that we educate ourselves to how we can reach out to these diverse communities. We also reached out to our sister agencies to find out what they're doing in regards to reaching out to diverse communities as well. In our process for recruitment, we have brought in our candidate pool by testing more individuals to see if they're qualified for the positions that we are recruiting for. And also in our process, we also reach out to outside panelists to participate in the process so that we have a more equitable and equability and less biased outlooks for our candidates, and it provides a fair, more fair process. And our future goals. So in the past, from 2023 and prior, we were more closely comparable to the LA City County numbers. But so what we would like to do is focus on retention. Retention is very critical in regards to keeping our staff in line. So we will continue training our managers to make sure that they're aware what they need to do in order to keep our staff in a positive environment. And also HR is going to take a look at job descriptions and determine if the minimum qualifications are representative of what the water industry is looking for now. So basically, we are going to look at the education versus work experience and hopefully be able to review and see if we can open more opportunities to a more diverse candidate pool. So with that said, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Elisa, for bringing this forward to us. So I'm gonna open it up right now to questions, my colleagues and comments. So Director Deere, did you have a question? You said?
Yes, having read this report, what specifically are we doing to recruit African-American candidates?
So we are, right now, we have reached out to different associations and have been posting on their boards, such as, have a list. So I don't want to mess up the association, the National Society of Black Engineers, the HBCU alumni website, the National Association of Black Accountants. We also post on the diversity job stop, which also reaches out to more of the different ethnicities along with LGBTQ groups.
Thank you, Director Deere. Others? See none but Director
Mr. Chair.
Alvarez. Who wants to go first? Alvarez? Alvarez wants.
Go on.
I'm sorry, hold on. He's pointing this.
I'm good.
No, go ahead, Director Gray. Alvarez says you can go ahead.
Oh, first of all, thank you for the report, which is important as we look at diversity in our agency. And I did have a very robust conversation with the general manager, with EJ, this week, because when I saw the report, I was concerned about the lack of African Americans, and I would be also concerned of any group that's not represented in our agency. And I do understand that based on my conversation and hearing the report today, that their efforts have been, they have been very involved in trying to recruit African Americans and people in general that are qualified for the agencies. And I know that they've tried different things. I think EJ talked about even a different model for the interview panel and other, and certainly this morning we heard that they've reached out to different organizations. So I guess my comment is that if that is not working, what else can we do? And EJ and I kind of talked about some things. So hopefully he can come back to this committee with some other alternatives, some out of the box, that I know they've done a lot, and I appreciate that. So thank you, EJ and staff. But I think we just need to dig deeper and figure it out if it's an issue with African Americans not qualified, because I know there are other African Americans who applied for jobs there. I know engineering is very difficult to recruit, but there are other types of jobs, and so my comment is to first thank you for your extra efforts, but to do more, to look more in terms of some programs that we can maybe partner with other organizations like the South Bay Workforce Investment Board. I think I suggested to EJ to maybe contact Jan Vogel or some other community-based organization to try to be helpful with what I believe that the goal of this board is in terms of diversity. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Director Gray. Director Alvarez, go ahead.
My comments are to the degree that staff had mentioned that the focus is going to be on retention. Retention doesn't help very much when you start with zero. You're retaining zero and you're still at zero. I think that the efforts and the focus should be on so much on retention. I think if you look at the need to go out and recruit and provide a welcoming environment and a challenging environment, and more importantly, and I think most critically, is an environment where people can build and move on. I don't want West Basin to be a stale place. I'd like to see West Basin be a place where people come, provide very good service, help this organization move forward in a very productive basis, but at the same time, can view this organization as a springing board to even bigger and better things. West Basin is a great organization, but there's an opportunity. In the not too recent past, I think that with respect to African Americans, we had a good number of African Americans. Now, some of those left because of retirement, but some of them left for other opportunities. And they were here for several years, and they were able to use this organization to move forward and in what they felt was a better opportunity for their careers. So I'd like to see us do that for everybody. It should be a good training ground. Yes, it's good to retain people, but it's also good to be able to make people more productive, encourage them, help them with their development, and allow opportunities and serve as a springing board. My comment. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Director Alvarez. And let me just say a couple things as well. Well, number one, first of all, I actually know over the last handful of years, the board has worked tremendously with HR staff to have you all out there everywhere and anywhere you can be. And I know you follow through on it. So I think our staff is diligently making sure they're trying to bring in the largest pool of candidates they can do. If there's more they can do, of course, they're going to look at it. One thing that may be lost in this, number one, we don't have the numbers included from last year to give us comparison, because most of this just recently happened. And people did leave for various reasons. Some retired, right? Some retired. So they were going to be leaving anyways. And some did leave for new opportunities. I think that actually is the reason why we're in this situation. Am I accurate there? We had retirements and they left for different opportunities.
Correct. Just to give you kind of a comparison, in 2020, we were at 10% for that particular ethnicity.
For African American.
For African Americans, just last year, we were at 6%. And yes, due to new opportunities, retirement, that is where we are at this moment. In regards to addressing Director Alvarez, as far as development, my biggest thing as an HR manager is to develop staff and to make sure that they are ready for whatever steps they need to take in their development, in their career, and their stay here with us. We do encourage staff always to try to develop themselves here at West Basin, and we know there's quite a few of West Basin past employees at other water agencies, but the stepping stone was here, and we're glad and happy that they're moving on and moving forward. And it shows what type of representation West Basin has as far as a training ground for a lot of these individuals. We have general managers that were West Basin employees. We have now principals and senior managers at other water agencies. So I do take pride that we are developing our staff, and you know, sad to see them go, but happy to see them progress.
Very good. So again, I want it to be very clear. Obviously, this it didn't happen in some sort of vacuum. There's circumstances that led to these numbers, and they're just a point in time. I know even now, I think we have openings that are available. People are going through these processes, and I concur with what was said earlier, including I think Director Gray mentioned, EJ to look at every opportunity to strengthen this. Elisa, you mentioned looking at the job qualifications. Of course, I'll be honest, I don't know the best scenario on that. Of course, we always have to make sure the job qualifications match current trends. But one thing I would always want us not to do is to lower our standards across the board. I mean, we want to have good standards for this agency, no matter what the jobs are. And, may that best person get that opportunity, of course. I definitely would not want West Basin to lower standards to make numbers, quite frankly. We want to make sure we have the best of the best in this agency. But I also, like I say, I love our diversity. Diverse district, we've always had a diverse staff. As a matter of fact, you mentioned it, we usually have been better than those county numbers. I know you all get back there, so we're committed. And I would also say lastly, and you know, because I made a note here, always too, if directors have ideas and thoughts where our staff should look for outreach, please let them know. I know that we all do in our own way, you know, but again, I understand where we're at this moment, but this is not permanent by any stretch. So, any other questions, Director Williams, anything or?
Yeah,
ahead.
elephant in the room, I guess you'd say. You know, this reminds me back in the day when I was looking for employment. It was, well, of course, everyone knows that engineering is tough, period. But it's the same. It hasn't changed. Has not changed. We have a small group that has been left out for many, many centuries. That they're you might say the pool, or the other term is used is the what is it, the come on,
Applicant.
Yeah.
no, the pool out there,
Potential candidates. yeah.
right? But it's a simple term. It's the I can't, it's not coming
Yeah,
to
I
me.
know what you're saying. It's the line that.
Yeah, right. The what is it? Come on, help me, somebody.
Applicant pools.
You mean
Yeah, but it's
you mean like the up and comers or the
yeah,
next?
But there's I'm looking for that word that. Come on,
Recruitment.
folks.
Recruitment. Is that the word you're looking for?
The recruitment, but the recruitment has to come from somewhere. So anyway, I'll just go on. I was there. Okay, how I got into where I am today was there was not that I was a public works director, city engineer in the county of Los Angeles. And at that time, this was back in the 80s, that I was the only public works director, city engineer, black in the county, in the state, California. Muhammad was two.
Jim Davis.
Well, Jim came after me. No, I guess we came about the same time. Yeah, right.
At the same time.
Yeah. And when we were in the city or county with 44 cities. Or
It's 80 some now. isn't it?
how many cities? Was it 84?
I think it's 80, some like cities.
88
Yeah.
cities right now in county.
But we were the only two public works directors, city engineers in the area. And if you
And
look
there's only
around
one
today, and there you go. And I've gone through my entire career as a public works director, city engineer, and retired. When I retired after 40 years or so, there's only how many now?
Today, I think there's only one that I know.
See?
Oh.
So because of many, many years or centuries of this not being available to us. So no one in my family paved the way for me. And so my kids they're looking at different professions as the way they want to go. Oh, I don't want to be a city engineer. I want to be an aerospace engineer. Why? Because they hear about it. They hear about it and they see the opportunity. You know. So, but that is still out there now. That there's no opportunity. I mean, and of course, I realize that engineering is not the only professional opportunity out there, but these folks who are pursuing Because you're competing with aerospace and you're competing with all these other exciting professions that you have to, so we have to look at a way to bring our opportunities out to people at a very young age. I mean, just going back to looking at our trips to the Hoover Dam, you know, and all of the programs that we reviewed out there, that were there any African Americans shown in any of the developments along the way? No. How many years is that? Centuries. You go out there now, same thing. But you see a lot of African Americans are teachers, right? Like aerospace. I keep saying aerospace because that was the one thing that was put out in front of us, showing there is opportunity there. I mean, those companies that came out to recruit and went to the universities, that was back in the 40s. So what I'm saying that because this is a very difficult discussion, because it was bad treatment. So no one we look for where the opportunity is. Now I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to shut up. I knew nothing about water when I became Public Works Director for the city of Linwood. But there was one guy out there that reached out to me, and I don't know how I reached out to him, but it was this guy right here. That was, how long ago was that?
Too many years.
Too many years. 80s.
It was in the 80s.
So, and before that, I knew nothing about water engineering, nothing. And he's the one you have to blame. But it's the same, because of generations of people being terrible.
How about this Association of Professional Engineers, Black engineers?
Mhm.
Don't they do make efforts to recruit?
Of course, everybody's
They
recruiting.
do any good?
They're recruiting for aerospace.
Dr. Williams, I would tell you that I actually participate in their advisory council, and I talk about West Basin, the water field in general. I talk about the opportunities within the water industry as a whole. It's always well appreciated, but you're right, it's tough to compete with a lot of the technology-based engineering recruiting. But it's worth noting that it's getting better. LADWP, LA Sanitation, Metropolitan Water District, West Basin, we now have a very strong contingent of water professionals participating in that organization and talking about water jobs every single meeting.
But again, when I hope I'm not losing you on the fact that the opportunity has not been there for generations. So there are no families, members recruiting or promoting engineering in the family. A lot of folks are recruiting opportunities in fashion, all that kind of stuff, that acting, I want to be the next something. But engineering, administrator in water. What is that about? Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it was, what did they say? It was a long time, took a long time to get here. It's gonna take a long time to get a little bit further. But because no one, I don't know many people. When I was in tech school, no one came saying, hey, you want to be a public works or city engineer or water guy? You want to be a mechanical engineer. That's what I went to school for. I got my degree in mechanical engineering. Then I found water. The civil engineering part changed my whole life. But nevertheless, still, how many in the 80s?
There were two, you and Jim.
Yeah. And that was here, LA. Then it was all up and down California coast. And the other people we met were from back east. So that's what you're up against. So how did I get in here? I got recruited. I got recruited by Willdan. You ever heard of Willdan Associates? Yeah. The most unlikely is organization to do that back in the 60s was Willdan. Of course, it was me for a long time, just me at Willdan. But anyway, this is crazy. I mean, I'm an old guy. I'm as old as he is. It's a long time ago. So if you want to recruit, you got to go out and recruit. Find somebody you want and steal them from the organization where they're working. Well, you do it. That's how I got stolen from the city of LA by Willdan. They didn't steal anybody else after that. Anyway, but it's crazy, but it's real. And it's also known as CS, if you know what that means. Okay, I'm done.
Great. Thank you, Director Williams. I think Director Gray had a comment also.
I do. Thank you, Director Williams, for your story. It's always interesting to hear your plight. There are so many things that I've heard that I'd like to comment on. So let me see if I can remember. First of all, this is a snapshot in time. I mean, EJ talked about that, and it was mentioned today. But that's true. But I think we certainly need to consider the fact that it is what is happening right now, and because the number of all of our African Americans have either retired or moved on to better things. But I think it's important not just for this particular group, but for all groups. And certainly our goals have been met for women and I think Latinos, that we should always have a pipeline to make sure that we do.
There it is, the pipeline.
We think about what we think about in terms of diversity. And so here we are, void of any African Americans. And so I think that is concerning, even though I acknowledge that, there's been great efforts on behalf of our general manager and staff to address that now. But what does that mean moving forward? I mean, do we have a plan? We should have a plan. We should do that. And I think Director Houston mentioned, not lowering our standards. And I don't think that's the conversation that either of us think about, that we're not considering lowering our standards because we're looking at a particular group.
That's right.
imply something. So I would say we should never say that because we're always going to be looking for the best qualified, and certainly there are qualified African Americans to serve any place, just like they're qualified any group. And so, but right now we're focused on a group that is not part of our agency. And if we're committed to diversity, then we need to look at that and come back with a plan. So I'm suggesting that this committee give some direction to our GM to come back with a plan that, you know, that addresses this, whatever, based on the conversation he's heard today, that he does come back with a plan, you know, to address this. I, like, again, I'm repeating myself. I understand they've done great work in terms of recruitment, whatever, but there are qualified African Americans out there. I have referred people to the agency throughout my 16 years or whatever years on that board. Because people have called me and asked me, and I always refer them to the website and say, look to see what's available. And they have applied. And so, you know, and the folks who have retired African Americans, they've been there forever. Some of them, Michelle was there for a long time. So we have to be cognizant of the fact that we will have retirement of any group. And so therefore we need to make sure we have a pipeline. And there are more positions there than just engineers. I respect engineers. In fact, my granddaughter is an engineer. She works for a private company, but she is an engineer. And her colleagues, her peers are engineers. They graduated from a school of engineering. And so there is a pool of people out there. There's one organization I need to mention, STEM. NSBE. NSBE is a great organization that prepares the students for math, science, and engineering programs. And so that is something I suggest. I don't know if EJ has contact with that group, but there are many organizations, and there are qualified African Americans out there who can be interested, maybe more education, maybe going in different places. But I really implore you here to ask this GM to come back, ask EJ to come back with a plan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Director Gray. Director Williams, go ahead.
Thank you. Director Gray, thank you so much for pulling out that term that I was hunting for, pipeline. The pipeline. Simple, but very, very powerful. And the pipeline can be filled with all kinds of professions, not just engineers. I'm an engineer, so of course, that's what I'm going to talk about. But there are no pipelines out there with enough folks in it that look like me, but who are not engineers. Or your group, finance people, all those different professions, that if pipeline is not adequately filled, you're going to have difficulty. You're going to have the same difficulty you're having now for the next generation. And you can see that now. Everywhere you look, we'll just say there are no African Americans in this field. And the first thing some people like to do is to say, oh, well, we'll have to lower our standards to do that. That's the last thing I want to hear. Okay, so don't bring that up, because they use that to keep us out for decades. So please don't do that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Lisa, go ahead.
Really, I just want to address and clarify. When I meant relooking at the job descriptions and the experience versus education, I never intended to say lower the standards. Again, when people work in certain industries, you gain work experience, because again, education and work experience go hand in hand. And sometimes 20 years experience equals, or 10 years experience equals a 4-year degree, because you work the ladder, you work up the ladder to get where you need to be. And sometimes on the job experience equals that education as well, because it's hands-on. So I've never mentioned lowering the qualifications. I just meant looking at different ways of bringing in people, because some people actually look, or candidates look at our requirements and go, I need a 4-year degree. Not necessarily. If you have the work experience, we will take you as well. So again, it's not lowering our standards, it's just finding the qualified people. In regards to the pipeline, again, HR has a goal to reach out to younger students, high school. We are in talks with PI as far as outreaching to high school students and working and get them interested in the water industry. There is a lack of awareness for this industry that we need to make them aware that we are here, we are the future, and we are we're going to help you, keep the environment going. So it is an awareness factor that is not out there in regards to the water industry. As Director Williams put it, it's not a sexy career like acting and fashion, and everybody's into social media wanting to be out there. And the water, you're behind the scenes, but it's an important industry to be a part of, and we need to make students aware that we are out there. I've spoken to college students that don't even know that we exist. Even for my personal experience, my daughter didn't even know we existed, but she does because I work in the industry. So again, it is awareness starting at the young age of high school students, where we need to actually get it in their heads before they start going to college and figuring out what they want to do. We have to bring the awareness of the water industry and the importance of engineers, operations, even finance. It's a different breed, and we just have to bring that awareness to those students.
Okay, well, thank you. I will say, this is a difficult conversation. I know that the agency is committed to diversity and inclusion. We've had a long track record of a diverse staff here. And I think that we just find ourselves in a moment in time scenario somewhat beyond our control. But so number one, I don't know the answers. Number two, I agree with Director Gray that this committee should ask our general manager and staff to come back with a plan to the committee, come back with some more details and in depth. Maybe one of those things, I don't know if you can provide this or not, but maybe what is the applicant pool that we are getting even look like? I don't know if that's possible, EJ, legally, but if we're going to have a report on this, maybe that's something you can show us. We all know that there's a lot of rules in hiring, right? And we have to abide by the law. So we have to make sure that we do things always in accordance with the law. But at the same time, yes, expand the outreach, try and get the broadest pool of candidates. A couple other things. I mean, we're number one, we're small. It is what it is. We're small. So our numbers always look kind of off based on literally 2 or 3 people. That's it. It is what it is there. And then the other thing too, and Director Williams, I think, hit on a huge conversation, which obviously is going on in the state of California right now, right? With the reparations task force, with the different potential remedies that are coming through the legislature when we're trying to solve a much larger issue that's happened for generations, as he mentioned and Director Gray mentioned. So I think we're going to be a piece of that, of course, in what we're doing. But anyway, what I would like to see, and I hope that, I'm assuming Director Williams will probably agree, is yes, staff should come back with some sort of a presentation or a plan. I don't know how much time you need for that, EJ. Maybe you can give us a thought. Is that,
I'm happy to do it perhaps next month. Let me organize my conversations with each of you individually have given me a lot of thoughts. I want to quickly point out that, I think our outreach efforts as far as our positions are second to none. Mm-hmm. I believe that the diversity at West Basin Municipal Water District within the industry is again second to none. We're doing an excellent job of not just hiring a diverse employee workforce, but also the best of the best. And we're going to continue to do that. I know that our outreach efforts again, are extensive. Elisa's brought a lot of heart to this effort. And it has expanded how we market and outreach our positions. So we are seeing expanded applicant pools. We're also testing more. So the plan, I think, is in kind of broadening what it is we're already doing, but making sure that we continue to do that. I know a lot of you have mentioned this, and it's been said that this is a snapshot of one moment in time. West Basin has always had a history of diversity for decades. And I think that the numbers will be there if we continue to do what it is we're doing with a mission to make sure that West Basin Municipal Water District as a whole is reflective of the communities that we serve. We serve a diverse community. So I will put together that plan. Let me see kind of what I have already as far as my notes on this matter and see how quickly I can return to this committee with a presentation.
I'm okay with that. Director Williams, what do you think?
Yeah, and please don't misunderstand me, that I'm not saying that you guys aren't doing a great job. I know what you're up against. I know that it's not, this whole thing is not gonna have change overnight. It's gonna be generations that before it gets to a point where we won't have this conversation anymore. But
Agreed, and I didn't mean it that way. You and I have had this very conversation, and I think your thoughts I share.
okay, very good.
Yeah, so
Sorry, guys.
I don't know, not at all. I just want to say thank you as well to my colleagues. When we have to have these tough conversations in a public forum, and staff is showing us clearly what the numbers are and what we're trying to do to make sure that we have the workforce that reflects the county. So thank you. One other thing I thought about when you look at a presentation, Jay, and if it's possible, maybe you can also show us like a cross section of some of the other agencies, how their numbers are looking. I mean, just see how we're comparing. I think that would be good information for us to see as well. So, all right, let's move
Mr.
to the
Chair?
next. Yes,
Chair, may I ask just a question?
go ahead. Yes, Director Gray.
Will the GM contact each board member to get their perspective or some more ideas, or is that part of
Of course,
the process?
I apologize, Director Gray.
Go ahead. Director
didn't
Gray,
hear
was
you.
that your question?
Yes, if he's
Yes.
gonna
Yeah.
contact us. Okay, thanks. And I want to thank Elisa too for her report this morning. Thank you, Chair, for your indulgence. Thank you.
Director Gray, I will reach out to individual. I've had this conversation with each of you already, and I'll continue that dialogue. But I will reach out to you specifically on this matter and the plan.
Thank you,
Thank you.
and Director Alvarez. Director Alvarez, go ahead.
I wasn't gonna say anything. I think that we need to wrap this meeting up, and hopefully we can just, after this item, wrap it up. The rest of the information calendar is available for our review. And I know the general manager is supposed to be at LADWP at 1:30. I doubt he's gonna make that meeting. One of the things that we focused on, what first is, let's not think of just engineers. Engineers is one niche in many professions out there. And I know that Director Williams and I are both engineers, and we tend to say, hey, you need to think about the engineering side, which is very important. But it's not the only thing out there.
Right.
You
just
the other thing that I always have to shuffle is when we say, well, let's compare ourselves to others. You compare yourself to others, you're gonna say, hey, we're fine. It doesn't do anybody any service to compare yourself to anybody else. The more important thing is to say, where do I want to be? And then move forward there. Because if we compare ourselves to others, I'll go back to something that Director Williams said, in the 80s, and in the 90s, and in the 2000s, and in the 2010s, and now in the 20s, the number of in the municipal agencies, that is the city, heads of public works and engineering departments that are African American is none. Today, there may be more than one, but I can only think of one public works director, city engineer in all of LA County that is black. So if we compare ourselves to others, we're gonna look good. As a matter of fact, if you look at all our numbers, we're fine with the exception of one category. It doesn't do anybody any good to compare yourself to anybody else. It does a lot more good to say, what do we need to do and focus on that. Thank you.
Very good. So thank you, Director Alvarez. Number one, we're going to continue the meeting as planned. As long as Director Williams is here with me or my alternate, we're going to keep on running this meeting, number one. Number two, I understand what Director Alvarez says, but on the other hand, I think it's good to also see what other agencies are doing, because quite frankly, I would like to see how some of the other agencies are doing on these metrics. I think knowledge is power. So what's Las Virgenes doing? What's Central Basin doing? I think we all know what we'd see if we went to Orange County on numbers, because it's just a different demographic down there, quite frankly. So personally, if you're going to make the effort to do this work, I would like to see some comparisons. And the other thing I say in that is it's not easy for us to compare ourselves to LA City or the county Department of Public Works, or maybe a big organization like Long Beach. We need to look at these smaller agencies. But my suspicion is you might very well see this is an across the board issue. And I think we're working diligently at West Basin to try and be in front of it. I hope the other ones will be along there with us. So again, I can't account for anything the other ones do, but personally, I think we should look at some of their agencies across this county and or the neighboring ones and see what we've got to look at too, because this is an industry-wide problem. So anyways, moving along, I want to say thank you again to everyone. And thank you, EJ. So you'll let me know as chair, but within either the next month or 2 months, I want you to have the time it takes to do this right. So I don't want to rush you yet, but you can keep me informed as to how much time you need. And then we'll be ready for that, okay? So we don't have a lot more on this, but staff puts together these agendas. It's our duty to be here and listen to them. And so go ahead, the next item, which is 6B, our quarterly debt report.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. As you mentioned, this item 6C, it begins on packet page 115. We do have our Chief Financial Officer, Wendy Nakamura, here for the presentation. And as mentioned by our Board of Directors, I do need to leave. Our manager, Water Policy and Resources Development, will be assisting you throughout the rest of this meeting for the final 3 items. So with that, thank you very much.
I plan to be here.
Thank you, EJ. Thank you, Matt.
Good afternoon, directors. First of all, I want to say after working for West Basin for the past 21 years, I'm grateful to be selected through open recruitment as West Basin new CFO. I appreciate the opportunity, and I will lead the finance and procurement team to providing service to the general manager and to the board. So let's start on agenda number 6B. Please turn to page 112. As requested by West Basin debt policy, staff is required to submitting the quarterly debt report to the board. So on page 112, we laid out all the outstanding bonds for West Basin. And then if you move to the last column on the right, it shows as of December 31st, 2023, West Basin still have $178 million loan bond outstanding. In the current fiscal year, we will pay off $21 million. The $21 million including the interest and the principal. Normally, there's two payments made. One in February 1, which is we only pay interest. And then the other one is in August 1, we pay interest and principal. So all the payment you'll be able to see on the demand list we provided. That's conclude for this agenda. If you have any questions, I can answer.
Any questions on this part? Thank you. Director Alvarez, you have a question?
So you mentioned that we will be paying off one of the bond issues?
No, we're not going to paying off anything near the 2022. The last payment will be made in August 2029.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I didn't see the numbers collapsing, so which one are we paying off?
Okay,
We're not
we're not paying off until the first one paying off is 2029. And then the last one paying off is 2041. Yeah, it's on the report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it for that one, right? Okay, great, thank you. All right, so Matt, you're helping us here. Item 6C is in cat, fiscal year 2024 mid-year financial review.
Thank you, Chairman Houston. This was an item that the directors had requested come back with additional information. So I know that our finance team has been putting a lot of work in the last few weeks to put together that additional information that goes kind of beyond the normal monthly report that you receive. So with that said, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Wendy Nakamura, CFO.
So for item number 6C, I want to start on page 119 of your package. So page 119 is very similar to West Basin's income statement. On the top, it shows West Basin's major revenues, potable water, recycling water. And in the middle, it'll show West Basin's expenses. Again, it shows the water purchase cost from we bought from Metropolitan, the recycling water expenses. And then towards the end of the page 119, you will see how that coverage is being calculated. There is a lot of data on the page 119. Therefore, we draft a memo to providing additional context to the revenue and expenses. The memo starts on page 115. So please turn to page 115. I want to start giving you information about the potable water sales and the expenses. The district continues to expense lower than projected potable water sales due to less demand. December 2023 potable water sales was 6,700 acre feet, about 5.3% lower than the same period last year. Water districts across Southern California have all been experiencing the low demand of potable water due to conservation and then due to the rain. In fiscal year 2024, Metropolitan Water District projected the lowest potable water sales in the past 50 years. I put in the table below this paragraph, and basically I lay out the potable water sales from fiscal year 22 to 23 to current year 24. So for 24, the budget is 95,000 acre feet. As of today, our projection of total sales of the potable water will be 85,244 acre feet. Another fact going to be lower the demand of the potable water is the high demand of the groundwater. For the period of July to November 2023, the total pumping of the groundwater is 13,560 acre feet, which is $3,000 acre feet more than the same period last year. Because the low demand of the potable water, so we don't have to purchase more potable water from Metropolitan as well. So for potable water, we have a net income of 15.9 million for the first 6 months. Our total projection of the net income for fiscal year 24 will be $30 million. The second one I want to address is the recycling water revenue and expenses. Aging infrastructure, high inflation, increase in price of chemicals and energies, increase the recycling water costs, operation and other costs. I expected the incidents such as Hyperion spill, facility shutdown. I also make the recycling water sales unpredictable. And then the longer period of the wet season in the past 2 years reduce the demand for irrigation water. The district recycling water operation has been running deficit in the past years. The budget net loss for this current year is $10.7 million. I provided 2 tables to give you information about the recycling operation on page 116. The first one is I providing information about the recycling water operation result, which is I provide the operation revenue, operation expenses, and the net loss from fiscal year 22-23 and projected net loss for this current fiscal year. And then the second table, which is basically can give you the information about, I'm talking about most of the cost for R&R right now is increased, the chemicals and then the utilities, which is directly resulted the cost of making recycling water per acre feet starting to increase. So you can see from fiscal 22 to fiscal 24, how much it costs us to make recycling water per acre feet. There is the cost of services study is ongoing, and then we're hoping the cost of service study will providing recommendation for future resetting, and then also providing the strategy for the district for the funding of the recycling facility. The next item, which is I want to talk about, is the investment income and loss. In 2022, the Federal Reserve initiated a rate hike as a proactive measure to combat inflation. As a result, the interest return has been showing positive as West Basin investing in agency fund money market began to rise. 50% of West Basin investment is investing into the agency bond notes and the money market, which is you can see from a table I put in below. We're doing pretty good for the investment income as of right now. We have $1.5 million as of interest income for the first half 6 months. And then our projection is receiving a $2.8 million interest income. Next item is the water use efficiency program income and losses. The water use efficiency program is essential to West Basin to encourage reducing the use of potable water and then increase local water resilience, providing support to the local retailers and cities of our service area. So for this one, I had a layout like since the fiscal year 24, 23, and then until 24. West Basin has been investing pretty heavily every year using West Basin's own money to fund the conservation program. Other revenue are West Basin other revenue, basically including some conservation grant and then construction grant and then construction contribution. There is $8.4 million, including in the current year's budget, which is we are expecting $4 million from Cal Water and an additional $4 million from the state of California for the phase 2 construction project. The overall debt coverage I lay out since has been declined since 2021. Our projected debt coverage at this year end will be the 1.51. I also want to let board know that the staff currently is collecting fiscal year 25 expenses from all departments. The budget calendar for fiscal year 25 is with the board president, and we will keep the board updated regarding the workshops once the general manager and the board president review the calendar. That's conclude my presentation.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Any questions from directors at this time?
Well, thank you.
Alvarez, Director Alvarez?
No, I'm gonna need to leave. I do have some questions, but I think this would be coming back to the board. And thank you, Wendy, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Good. Director Gray, do you have any questions?
No, thank you. And thank you, Wendy, for the presentation. Thank you. And congratulations too.
So we do providing the budget to actual for the past 6 months, which is starting from page 120 to page 127. My colleague Alison here can explain the budget variance. You guys have any questions regarding any pages?
Very good. Let me just ask a couple things along the way, really quick. There's a multiple page report, but let's see, what was that instructor? I guess, let me understand on the water use efficiency stuff, right? Because that's one where we're showing significant revenues haven't come in or versus projected or whatever. But to enlighten us, isn't that in part because sometimes it's grants or other things we're waiting on, or can you explain that a little more to us?
So if you see on the page 117, there is for the water use efficiency, the current budget is the $3.1 million, right?
Yes, that's the one.
Yes. So $1.5 million is actually West Basin's labor and benefit, which is basically the number of employees participate in this program. And then also, I think because we have the grass replacement project working with Metropolitan, and then West Basin have to pay $1 per square footage.
Mm-hmm.
So there is an estimate how many square footage of the grass replacement will be complete in this fiscal year. And then the other thing is West Basin has been doing is the rain barrel, which is the rain barrel, each rain barrel West Basin distributed to the community. West Basin paying $26 our own cash to fund each rain barrel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because do we get a reimbursement of part of that, right, from Metropolitan?
The rain barrel, we get the 50, how many dollars?
You get $35.
$35.
Right.
Yeah, so the rain barrel itself is $61 each.
I can weigh in a little more. Director Houston, I think Wendy captured most of it, but Yes, in terms of the operating expense, a big chunk of that is the grass replacement rebate budget that we budgeted. We budgeted about 750,000, I believe, at the beginning of the year. And then we went back to the board for additional funding, I think in maybe July. Okay, thank you, July. So that kind of, in addition to the direct and indirect labor, that represents the biggest part of that operating expense.
Okay. And then the other thing, I believe, I think the only other questions I really had was page 116, because that's kind of the overarching one. Obviously, recycle water operations, I mean, that's costing us a significant amount of money. A lot of that's from chemicals, challenges over at our facility. We certainly know that a lot of these things financially don't really, weigh out. We're not made whole in some of that production, but the average cost per acre foot is going up, right? Even versus what we thought it was going to be, right? It looks like on that second chart, budget said 1741, but our projection's 1898, right?
Yeah. So basically, our expenses keep going up, but then our total sales has been going down. If you look at the fiscal year 20 and then fiscal year 21, the average cost is about $1,100. Yeah.
And again, this is an average across the 5 different types of water, right? Okay. But all that being said, it's good for us to know where we're at right now, as well as those who look at these numbers from the public and pay attention to understand. I mean, we're selling less water. On one hand, it's a great thing for us to do, but on the other hand, it's financially difficult. And of course, our recycled water operations are still going up. So anyways, I just wanted to point it out, but also ask a couple questions. And we're going into our budget cycle or season, which is where we'll make some decisions regarding next year when it comes to turf rebates, as well as rain barrels and other outreach programs that we've got to take into consideration on the financials. So, okay. All right. Any other questions from anybody? Williams, Gray?
Thank you.
Okay. Hearing none. Thank you very much, Wendy, for that report. Let's see. The next thing is our monthly financial report, which is item 6D as in dog.
Chairman Houston, 6D will be presented by Sandra Luis.
Hi, good afternoon again, members of the reporting committee. I will be presenting agenda number 6D, the monthly financial report. As required by West Basin Administrative Code, staff is required to submit various financial reports to the board to keep them appraised of the financial conditions and future needs of the district. And with that, we'll begin with packet page 130 with the demands list for the month ending December 31st, 2024. That item is 6DA. The report concludes on packet page 135, and it shows a total expenditures for the month for 19.6, almost $19.7 million. On that same packet page 135, you'll see that the Metropolitan Water District invoice for November 2023 was 10.6 million. The second highest item expenditure for the month was the U.S. Bank payment, which was for the bond debt payment. As Wendy mentioned during her report during debt, this payment is interest only and it amounted to $4.3 million. So those two items combined accounted for approximately 75% of the total amount spent for the month. With that, I'll be happy to pause if anybody had any questions regarding the report.
Very good. Any questions?
Well, thank you.
Go ahead.
Next item is item 6DDB, the West Basin and Cash and Investment report for the month ending January 31st, 2024. Total market value is 74.8 million. To the right, you will see the pie chart, which are with the largest investment in the California class at 37.8. The next page, packet page 137, is a credit quality distribution bar graph, which shows investments are rated AAA or higher for the most part. The next page, packet page 138, is a bar graph that shows the maturity distribution. Portfolio continues to be very liquid. On the next packet page 139 would be the transaction ledger, and you will see the acquisitions and dispositions for the month. I just wanted to point out at the top part, you will see purchases of U.S. Treasury at 1 million, John Deere corporate note at 200, and you will see the rates pretty good. And when you compare it to the maturity listed below, which is almost exactly the same amounts, you can see that the rates back then were pretty low. So we continue to have favorable rates, which again, Wendy mentioned during her report. The next, as we continue through the rest of the report, packet pages 140 to 147 gives you a detailed listing of the investments in the portfolio. Packet pages 148 to 151 are the glossary and disclosure information. And that concludes that report. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions?
Well, thank you.
Next, item 6DC is the monthly water sales. We'll start off with the imported retail potable water. You will see 5,727 acre feet for the month of January. This is approximately 6,000 less than what was last year. Again, continued with the rains and conservation efforts, continue to see record low sales. Imported barrier was 724 acre feet. Packet page 153, you will see the recycled water sales for the month was 2,263 acre feet. When we look at the table below, which breaks down between barrier, refineries, and disinfected tertiary, you'll see that the numbers for refinery and disinfected tertiary are above from the previous year, about 9.8. Barrier is lower or higher from previous year, but lower than budget. They had some issues with the water, the rain, water quality, which continues. So with that, I'll pause to see if you have any questions about the water sales report.
Any questions?
Well, thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Final item, 6BD, packet page 154. This is the Directors Conference and Travel Expense through January 2024. And then finally, the last item, 6DE on packet page 155 is the Executive Management and Staff Travel Expense Report through January 2024. And that concludes the monthly financial reports.
Okay, thank you. Any final questions?
Well, thank you.
And no, thank you. I think those are really good and thorough. So thank you so much. Closed session, we have no closed session today. Any director's comments or future agenda items? Any director comments? I'll start with Director Williams because you're our member. So go ahead.
Great meeting. Good discussion. It's always good discussion. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Director Deere.
Yes, we continue to show finance is the strongest department we have. I noticed over the years, the number of West Basin employees have gone on to bigger and better things. How many general managers there are in water in Southern California that are from West Basin? Just quite a few. If you add them up, and other positions too. When people leave here, they generally either retire or are promoted to a higher responsibility job with another district. Those are pretty good trainings, pretty good pool of training people that are trained for great work. And I'm very confident that we're in great shape.
Very good. Thank you, Director Deere. Director Gray, any last comments, future agenda items?
No, thank you, Chair. Just thank you to everybody for the report today. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have nothing further. Good meeting, of course, good dialogue. We have some action items that came out of it today, so with that, our next scheduled meeting is to be held on March 19th of 2024, and we are adjourned. Thank you.